outstanding coach at North Dakota State, and now the head coach at Wyoming, and got the honor to coach Carson Wentz and also Josh Allen. Not a bad combo platter. I'm sure you've been busy this week. People talking to you about the former quarterback, certainly Josh Allen. Thanks for joining us, Coach. How are you?
You know what? Really doing well, Dan. It was a pleasure to have an opportunity to work with Carson Wentz when he was younger, and now Josh Allen. And if I had a quarter for every time somebody asked me to compare the two, I'd be a wealthy guy. But you know what? There's tons of similarities between the two guys, and I understand the conjecture of the different quarterbacks that are out there and how they're slotted and what organization is looking at a certain guy, and quite frankly, with the general managers that I've had a chance to talk with, I've been very transparent with where I see Josh at right now. Obviously, the film, has some great things to say, but they're always interested on what's the other side that we don't see on Josh Allen, and what kind of things can you tell us about him to project success?
Okay, the first time you saw Carson Wentz, when's the first time you were impressed with Carson Wentz?
Well, it's interesting. He was a skinny, redheaded, freckle kid with a space between his teeth, and he didn't even play quarterback when he was a junior in high school. So he shows up at fall camp, and our offense is a complicated offense. It's, Pat Shurmur came in and put it all in at NDSU many years ago, and so Carson was out there his first scrimmage, and a lot of different variables, a play listing call, which is pretty long, and he comes up to the line. We were down in the red zone, and he stepped back, and I did not know what he was doing. He stepped back, changed the protection, changed a route, and threw a slant to the X on the weak side. And I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, well, Coach, you know what? I saw they were in straight man. The corner was outside position, so I changed the protection, hit the slant on the X, and I went, wow. Most of these guys, when they're freshmen, are having a hard time. They've got a squeaky voice. They can't even know what the snap count is. And so he's off the chart as far as his mental capabilities. And, his character is outstanding. And, we had a long talk with the Eagles because they were saying, he didn't even start for you when he was younger. Why are we going to invest all this, draft picks and everything else into him? And I said, don't undersell his competitive nature and his competency. And, and I think that's been bared out. It's going to be great for us to watch Josh as he excels in the NFL also.
What are GMs asking you that I'm not like you're going to be transparent with them, I guess, but you want to protect Josh Allen as well. Like you want to support your guys. So how do you kind of walk that fine line there?
Well, many of these guys have been friends for years and years and years. And, the best thing you can do is when you're establishing credibility is being transparent. And, while we're appreciating and not so much protecting Josh, but the film doesn't lie. Josh can do some unbelievable things. I mean, there's no one else that I've seen through 35 years of coaching that can expose defenses in different parts of the field because of his arm strength and his ability to extend plays. A couple things they really want to know is what is his work habits like? What kind of competency does he have? What is his mental capabilities? How has he progressed into your system? And then the other thing that, the $1 million question, and I understand numbers are there, they look at the completion percentage. Yeah. And if you just look at sheer numbers, you go, okay, there's a red flag here. It's much, it's debated, but why are those numbers where they are, and can we change those numbers? To play in the NFL, I think quarterbacking in the NFL is the hardest thing in all sports, and the windows that Josh is going to be throwing into, are going to be tighter windows than what he's confronted with. And so why was the number where it was, and what are some things that are going to predict his huge upside? And so, it's been some great conversations. It'll be interesting to see, where he goes and what pick he goes.
If you were Cleveland, what would you do? What would you do?
Well, I'd take him. This is what I have seen is, during the course of the fall, and people may not recognize Josh is young, and he really had an opportunity to come out last year, but he's young, and I've seen, tremendous progress for him even throughout this year. And, so some of the questions that you have is saying, can this guy be the face of a franchise? Can this guy have the ability? Can he step under center and, walk in and lead a locker room full of guys, offensive linemen are 30-some years old and have 3 kids, and their lives are on their professional lives on the line and everything else. And so there's no doubt. I've seen tremendous improvement in Josh. I saw it even when he came back and played in our bowl game, and then when he came back from the Senior Bowl, and then he did our pro day here. The little things that I see, him cleaning up his footwork and an opportunity to work, with a strict quarterback guru as far as these finer tuned things that's going to help him with those completion percentages. I know this. You can clean that up. What you can't clean up is somebody who can run sideways and throw a dart in the back of the end zone, a la John Elway. You can't cover that, and so that's why I'd say his value system's strong. He's going to be able to be resilient. He plays in cold weather. He overcame adversity this year. We had a lot of players that went in the NFL the previous year. Not one time did he come in my office and complain about the weapons that he lost. And he even told me, he goes, Coach, if I get drafted where I think I'm going to get drafted, I'm probably going to go into a rebuild. And so I've got to learn how to work through adversity. Those are qualities that you cannot just teach. Those are intrinsic things that he has.
If Carson Wentz and Josh Allen were in the octagon, who's your money on?
I'm not going to touch that one. They're both winners.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
I understand your position, though, but you know what? I would say this. Everybody says, well, what's the comparison? I had a chance to coach against Peyton Manning in college, and, my assessment, and I'm a defensive guy, my assessment was Carson has tons of qualities that are very much like Peyton Manning. I would say, while I never coached against Brett Favre, you got a Favre with Josh. And that's a double-edged sword. But if you corral it right, Brett Favre's a pretty good quarterback too.
How far is the farthest you've seen Josh Allen throw a football?
I think 80-some yards.
We need exact.
He can wing it.
We need exact because we had the over/under at 82.
Well, I was going to say 82, but I thought somebody would think I was just making it up. I think he can throw it. I think he can throw it farther than 82 yards. I do. Out of high school, we saw him. He was a high school baseball pitcher, could throw 90-some mile-an-hour fastball, but he was 6'3", 100 or 200 pounds. Now he's 6'5", and he's 240 pounds, and so he can wing it.
If I had one of my guys stand in front of him 20 yards out, could he actually kill them? Could he stop their heart if he?
Yes, I can tell you this. You go out on the field and everybody sees balls thrown.
Yeah.
You can hear his ball, and that you can hear it. I mean, you can hear it, and I've never experienced that before. And so, that's probably the best way to describe how he can throw it. I mean, he can throw it on a rope, and he can expose areas of the field that defensive coaches typically don't have to cover because no one can expose them. He can. So take that completion percentage. He'll hone that down, but take that completion percentage out there. And I hear all the pundits. He's going to put the ball places that no one else can hit, and that's a tough act to cover.
Thank you, Coach. Love the uniforms. We appreciate you joining us.
You bet. Thanks a lot,
Thank
Dan.
you.
Bye now.
Craig Bohl. That's Wyoming head football coach. Continental Tire, Coach's Corner. Continental Tire, proud supporter of the Dan Patrick Show. All the tires that you need, no matter what you're doing. They got the new Terrain Contact AT, the ideal all-terrain tire. Check it out. It's great for SUVs. You get the details at ContinentalTire.com. Continental Tire Coach's Corner.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.